Are you ready for this?
Yo, check out the way that we flow. Here we go, here we go, here we go. We're taking you from preps to pros. We on the radio. Yo, check out the way that we flow. Here we go, here we go, here we go. We're taking you from preps to pros. We on the radio.
Charlotte, we're here. Preps to pros. With Steve Crawford, Ryan Young, Key Audrey, who's got the
keys. He got
Tony
the keys.
Pearl. TP. TP ain't with us today, but he's here in spirit in Flyland, Texas. But we will be having the Pearl Report. Preps to the Pearl Report.
Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. As Steve mentioned, we're taking the Pearl Report on the road. And over the next 3 weeks, we're going to bring you interviews from coaches and players from various states, from Georgia to Texas. And speaking of the state of Georgia, we got a nice New Year's treat for you guys. A really, really special interview from a high school coach in that state with Charlotte ties. But before we get into that, listen. For the break, I mentioned we'd present our Prep Power 5 rankings in the new year. Not much has changed, but we do have some teams peeking in that window, waiting to get in too. Coming in at number 5, we got Carmel Christian. Number 4, Cox Mill. Number 3, Providence Day. And busting their way in to a number 2 ranking is Independence High School. And still sitting firmly at the top is North Met. But peeking in that window, just looking right on in, is Gaston Day and Statesville Christian. Watch out for those teams. Make sure you go see those guys. Support our local teams, and you'll see some good ball. And lastly, we caught up with Coach Ty Baumgardner over the holidays. For those who are not familiar with Coach Baumgardner, he coached at Olympic for 10 years and led the O to a number of conference titles, including an undefeated 2013 season and winners of the North Carolina State Championship. That same year, the team finished with a national ranking, and Coach BG, as his players like to call him, won AP Coach of the Year. Steve, listen, in his last 4 years at Olympic, he had a team record of 109 wins to only 9 losses. After his successful campaign at Olympic, Georgia's Gwinnett County came calling. Of course, they did. And now he's entering his 4th year at Collins Hill. And man, oh man, he brought his monster of a squad up for the Cleveland County Holiday Classic. We caught up with Coach right after his team won the championship against Kings Mountain. Let's check out some of the snippets from that interview. How do you feel about your team's performance tonight?
Well, I thought we played really well. Like you said, very good opponent. Kings Mountain's going to make a lot of noise come state tournament time in 3A, especially with those 2 stud guards they've got in Delph and Littlejohn. And then the atmosphere, that cannot be replicated anywhere in Georgia. And so this was a great experience for our guys to play in that atmosphere. I mean, to be quite honest, I felt like I was back home at Olympic, little cracker box gym, packed house, hot as an oven. And, so it was a true road game for us. And then it was a good win without a doubt.
I tell you, this was a great environment. And one thing I noticed about your team, just like the teams from Olympic, they seem to buy into your philosophy each year. What's your approach to your teams each year?
Well, I'm old school. Anybody that knows me knows that. So, I mean, in some regards, it's my way or the highway. But, I mean, I'm discipline. I'm really big on discipline, and I'm defensive-minded coach. And, I'm incredibly hard on my guys, but I'm hard on them for a reason. And that reason is because I love them. I treat them like they're my own son. And, yes, I'm a basketball coach, but, I sometimes think of myself more as a life coach. And I'm trying to, teach them lessons through the game of basketball that will be able to help them throughout their entire life.
Well, I tell you, when you think about those life lessons, you see it translate to the next level. Guys, listen, Coach has some former players playing at the next level. I think about C.J. Jackson.
Yep.
He's over at Ohio State.
Yep.
We got Alaric Freeman.
Yep.
At NC State. And DeRisi Parks at Western Carolina. Who else am I missing?
We got B.J. Gladden, who's a senior at Georgia Southern. Right. Those are the Division I guys right now. I've got one that's at the University of Georgia. It's a freshman this year that played for me 2 years ago at Collins Hill named Tyshawn Hightower. And then I've got a kid tonight, Justin Lee, who's signed with the University of Northern Illinois.
Guys, listen. The impact Coach BG has had on his players was definitely quite evident by the way they came back and showed up at the tournament, even some of his former coaches and administrators. But check it. We wanted and had to ask the question. Now that he's seen athletes from both states up close, who has the better ballers? Who has the better ballers? Now, we don't want to get Coach in any trouble. But listen, he's a sincere man. He speaks from the heart. So check it out what he had to say about that.
As a whole, I think Charlotte players, North Carolina players in particular, are probably a little bit better basketball players as opposed to Georgia has bigger, stronger athletes.
You heard it from one of the winningest coaches in North Carolina history.
I don't know about that.
No, listen, Coach, thank you for your time. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Great team win. Guys, that's Coach Ty Baumgardner returning to North Carolina with his Collins Hills basketball team and winning the Cleveland County Holiday Classic Tournament over a tough Kings Mountain opponent. Steve, back to you.
Yeah, that was the Pearl Report featuring our very own Tony.